Hello folks, this is Echo. Welcome to Palworld. If you're not familiar, this is a survival crafter where you catch all these cute little critters here, send them out to murder stuff, build things for you, and join you in general on your journeys. Despite being an early access game, it has a remarkably complex set of mechanics that can be daunting when you're first starting off. I'm going to take you through the first few days in game and break it down into a series of tips that I've gathered that will hopefully make your journey into Palworld a little easier. In many games, the tutorial can be a little bit worthless, but in Palworld it seems to be the most efficient route to gain XP at the beginning, so I highly recommend following it. As you make your way through the world, you'll come across these orange travel points. Once you unlock them, they turn blue. And once you have your initial base set up, you'll be able to fast travel directly from there to those locations. Speaking of your first base, I know I told you to follow the tutorial, but you're going to want to make your way down the hill till you find a large flat space to start building. As you begin to make your way down, make sure to pick up any rocks, sticks, and berries that you see along the way. You'll notice that as you hover over them, they're outlined in white, and then you simply press F to pick them up. As you're making your way down the hill, make sure to look at your HUD in the bottom left. The green bar is going to be your health, the orange bar is going to be your current hunger level. To the right of that is the temperature indicator, and then the sun indicates the day-night cycles. To the right of your character is a stamina meter, which will go down if you sprint, attack, mine, etc. We'll get into the 3 circles once we collect our first pal. To get started on building your base, you're going to want to find a large flat space like this, and then you're going to want to press B to open up the building menu and get your primitive workbench set up. It'll show up in this translucent blue color, and then you just left click your mouse wherever you want to place it. Don't overthink this one because we'll teach you how to tear it down and put it somewhere else later. Once it's in place, you're going to hold down F and that will build it. This is going to give you access to constructing your starting tools. You just press F to select a recipe. Then it gives you access to a club, a torch, a pickaxe, and a regular axe. Go ahead and make the stone pickaxe and the regular axe, and then you can gather the materials to build the rest of the stuff. In my situation here, I need a little bit more stone, so I took that fancy new pickaxe and went and gathered it pretty quickly, and then was able to make a stone axe. One last thing to remember is you do have to press F again to take the item that you just created off the workbench, otherwise you'll leave it there and run away without it. It's about time for us to catch some pals, but we need to unlock some things first, so press tab to open up your character menu, then go up across the top to the technology tree. Here you'll see rows of technologies with a number associated to the left, 1, 2, and 3, which relate to your character level. Since we are level 3, we'll have access to up to level 3 technologies. To unlock a technology, you'll use technology points, which you gain through leveling as well as various other activities. The blue numbers over the shaded out technologies represent the number of technology points required to purchase it. We'll start off by unlocking the pal sphere so we can show how to catch pals, and then we'll unlock a variety of other items that I'll go through. Now that we've unlocked the sphere in the tech tree, we can come over to the primitive workbench and we can go ahead and craft these up. As you progress through the game, you'll get access to more powerful spheres, moving to the Mega Sphere, the Giga, the Hyper, the Ultra, and the Legendary. To make the basic sphere, all you need is wood, stone, and the palladium fragments, which can be found all over the map. Now is a good time to go ahead and place our PAL box. We do this by pressing B to pull up the build menu and then scrolling over to PAL, and then you'll see PAL box if you've unlocked it in the tech tree. Now this is important for placement because you're going to want to put this in the center area because it's going to create a radius around it that you can build. So ideal locations for this are large flat areas as well as areas that have a number of resource nodes like rocks and trees and things along those lines. So once you find your spot, you'll left click and then again you'll hold F to build it. So if you're new to Palworld, the nights are really dark, even with a torch. So to skip through the night, you're going to need a bed, but that requires you having some type of structure with a roof on it. So assuming you've unlocked it in the tech tree, you'll press B to open up the build menu and then scroll over till you get to wooden foundation and then pick out the floor first. And then you'll come over here and grab wooden wall. Go ahead and build yourself 3 walls. I guess you could technically just build 2 if you wanted to, but I'm going to go ahead and build 3 and then slap a roof on it. Now before we head out to collect pals and do some resource gathering, I highly recommend building storage. So you're going to press B again, scroll across to infrastructure, and then pull up the wooden chest that you would unlock through the tech tree. Again, you'll left click to place it and then press F to actually build it. Before spending any points, you only have about 300, whatever the unit is, of carrying capacity. So keeping your inventory light ensures that you have plenty of space to pick up things as you're moving about. Next, before you head out, go ahead and craft yourself a wooden club. I highly recommend this. It's good to also make the bow, but the wooden club doesn't require you to make arrows to upkeep. And for the first few pals that you're going to knock out, this will do the job just fine. So catching pals is pretty easy. You're going to pull out that club that we just built, and then we're going to bludgeon this poor guy within an inch of his life. Once you get him nice and low, you're going to press and hold Q to pull out your pal sphere and aim, and then let go to throw. While you're hovering over the critter, it will give you a capture rate percentage to let you know your chances. On a successful capture, you will also get the same resources you would have gotten if you had killed that pal. So taking out this land ball gave us some mutton and some wool, so we are in good shape to go make a bed now. We'll be pressing B to go back into the build menu and then over to infrastructure, and then we'll pick out the shoddy bed. Left click to place and then F to build. Once it has been placed, you simply walk up to it, press F, and it allows you to sleep through the night. Alright, we got a bed and some pals. Let's talk about how we kind of manage them. Approach your pal box and press F to pull up the pal box management menu. On the left side, you'll see your party section, which has your 5 current pals assigned to your party. The middle section where it says box 1 is kind of like a reservoir of all the pals that you've caught. And this is why when you're out and about and you're catching pals, you can exceed the number that you can carry in your party and they'll just dump them into the pal box. Below that, you'll see a section that says Pals and Base, and this is where you're going to assign pals to actually do stuff around your base to be able to passively create resources and do tasks for you. To move a pal in there is simple as drop and drag, so you can come up here in the top left and pull them out of your party or out of the box 1 and just drop them in. Before just adding any pal to your base, though, you want to understand how they function. As you're hovering over a pal, just press F and it's going to pull up this more detailed menu here. In the bottom right, you'll see work suitability, which are all the skills that are related to things that they can do around your base. So check that out before assigning them. Next, you'll want to check out the 3 different skill types that a pal will have. It has a partner skill, an active skill, and a passive skill. The partner skill is relevant either when your pal is actually actively out or in your party. The active skills are going to be the combat skills that pal uses, and then finally the passive skills can be both a combination of good and bad. This incentivizes you to catch a number of different pals of the same type in order to find the right skills for what you're trying to accomplish. Next, we got to make sure that our pals are fed. I recommend using the red berries. They're easy to find. You right click on them and then you left click on both yourself as well as any pals in your party to fill up the hunger bar. Each time you level, you're going to get the option to increase your stat points. From my experience thus far, there's 2 you really want to focus on in the early game. One is your weight, which is essentially your carrying capacity. So we're going to put a couple points into that. And then the other area that you really struggle with in the early game is stamina. You're going to be burning that through combat and through running around the map, which you will do a lot of in the early game. Once you pick your points, just click OK to lock them in. As soon as you can, you're going to want to upgrade your base. You do this by going to your pal box, pressing V. You will be presented with a few tasks that once you complete, you can press the upgrade button and it will increase the number of pals that you can have working in your base. And once you get up to 10, you will be able to actually create a second base or place a second pal box. So we've already completed the next one, so we'll go ahead and raise the base level up to 3. And now you can see we have to build a feed box and build straw pal beds. So the pal beds are really easy to make. You just need a little bit of wood and some fiber, both of which you get from chopping down trees. And you need to place one of these for each of the pals that you have sitting at your base. If a pal doesn't have a bed, they will gradually lose sanity, and eventually you will have to put them back in your pal box. In Palworld, storage chests are very cheap to make, and it's very advantageous to put them near resources that you're going to be harvesting. What makes them so amazing is that as long as they're placed inside the blue circle of your base, they are all linked together. So if you use any type of crafting and you're standing inside of that blue circle, you'll have access to everything that's inside of that box. Additionally, this lets you be more efficient by being able to drop off heavy items like rock and wood without having to run them back to the center of your base. As you're moving around the map, make sure to look out for these lift monk effigies. Once you unlock the tech to build a statue in your base, you will use these as currency to increase your capture rate when using spheres. One of the most critical early workstations is the repair bench. Once you place and build this is going to give you the ability to repair items that you're using out in the field. Here we can see our pickaxe is busted and our stone axe is on the way, so we just click on it and then click repair. And then same thing for the stone pickaxe, click on it and click repair, and there you go. One of the best early game defenses is the shield. So this is not a shield like a buckler or something like that. This is more of like a magical shield that gives you 100 extra health. You can think of it like an overshield if you've played Halo or other games like that, and it replenishes over time if you aren't hit. So now that we have this equipped, you'll see a blue bar that is charging up over top of your health bar. The next thing you're going to want to make is a torch. As you can see, nighttime is closing in, and it is almost impossible even to get around your base without having some type of light. And speaking of night, most of the time in the early game, you're going to want to hop in bed and skip it. This is why we focused on getting ourselves a shelter and a bed so that we could do so. If you want to move something or simply destroy something that you've placed, go into the build menu and press C to go into disassembly mode. Target the item and left click. This is going to give you back all the resources that you used to build that, and then you can just go and place it in a different location. In my situation here, I just wanted to move my workbench next to the repair station over here to have everything together and more efficient. Capturing pals is one of the fastest ways to level up, and you are going to want as many spheres as you can possibly produce, so I recommend crafting up a nice stack of these before you head out and adventure. The best way to keep your animals fed around the base is to create a feed box. Once you have this set up and put some food in it, pals will automatically come here and feed themselves. Now we can further automate this through farming. We can create a berry plantation, which is the first one you'll unlock in the tech tree. Once you have it built, you'll see it goes through several phases. You'll have a seed, water, growth phase, and then a harvest phase. All of these can be automated with the right pal. Speaking of the right pal, it's important to make sure that we fill all the slots in our base. We see that we need to equip one more pal because we've got an open slot that we didn't use earlier. So we're just going to grab one more and slot it in here. Again, you want to try to pick something that's going to help automate some of the work being done. The campfire is a very simple workstation to put together. It just takes wood and you can put it anywhere. I like to place this near my bed as it provides constant illumination. Also, it gives you a way to cook and produce higher quality foods. Purple and gold chests will spawn randomly around the map, so make sure to keep your eyes open for them. They can have keys to unlock higher level chests. They'll also have gold to be used at traders, as well as various other useful items. To complete some of your early game base automation, there's a few pals you'll want to go catch. Just continue to head south from the starting spot and you'll find Fox Parks here, which is great for running the furnace once you get that set up. And then in this same general area, you'll find pangolets, which are good for watering that berry farm that we just put together. So make sure you pick up a few of these each so that you can put them to work back at the base. If you're playing on normal, there's almost no penalty for death, but that being said, you can save yourself a lot of frustration by taking note of the zone and the level of the pals that are there. In this situation, I thought it was better to head back to base, gather some more pals, and see if we can get some more gear first. Watch out for eggs as you're moving around the map because eventually you'll get an incubator where you can get a chance at a random pal of that egg type. Before you get them out, moving around the map can be a little bit tedious, so make sure to use these fast travel shrines and you will always have one at your base, so you can use this to head right back, especially if you're nearing nighttime. One really great quality of life feature that I missed for probably my first 10 hours of gameplay is the quick stack feature. Down here in the bottom right, if you press R, it'll take any items out of your current inventory and dump them into a chest that has the same type of items. So as you progress, there's some PAL partner skills that unlock naturally and some that require gear. So that's why you're going to need the PAL gear workbench. So we're going to build this up first. And then just as an example, we're going to show you Fox Park's harness. So you need 1 point in technology to unlock it first, and then you can craft it here at the station. Some of the gear allows you to use your pal as a mount, but in the case of Fox Parks, it turns him into a flamethrower, which is amazing. After pressing E to deploy him, you hold down F to initiate Huggy Fire, and you go look for a target and light him up. So hold down F again at this stage, and boom! Fried chicken, baby. As you gather more pals, it's hard to remember where you found them, so the easy way is you can come into the pal deck here, and you can click on whichever pal you want to look at, and if you just click on it once, it's going to show the features, the stats, over here, but if you come up to the top, you'll see it's got habitat. In orange, you'll see everywhere where you can find it during the day, but then you also have the option to flip to the night to see where you would find it then. In the case of Fox Parks, you can find him in day or night, so it doesn't really matter. But there are some pals that you can only find during the nighttime. If I scroll down here to Daydream and click on him, you'll notice it says doesn't seem to be active at this time, and that's because we've got sun for daytime. But if we switch to night, we'll see the areas that you can find Daydream. Remember those Lift Monk effigies we found earlier? Well, I'm going to show you how to use those now. So you can build a statue of power, and again, you'll unlock this in the tech tree. Once you build this up, it's going to give you two different functions that you can use. The first is that you can enhance player stats. So this is going to increase your capture power, making it easier for you to capture pals. Each time you do this, it's going to take an increasing number of Lift Monk effigies to be able to do it. You can see the first upgrade only required 1, and then the next requires 4. The other function of the statue is to enhance your pals. So you will find pal souls of varying levels around the map and in chests and all kinds of places. So you can use those here to increase hit points, attack, defense, or work speed for a pal. As you spend more points to enhance a pal, you'll move up to the higher levels of souls required. So as an example, we'll go ahead and bump up Fox Park's attack by 1. It will cost us 1 small pal soul to enhance. Next, let's talk about getting stone and wood in the easiest fashion. You can make a logging site, and you can also make a stone pit, which is essentially a mining site. I recommend putting them next to each other and then just putting a chest in between the two of them. Now these are amazing because it doesn't require you to have nodes around your base. As long as you have a pal with the lumbering or mining skills respectively, they will come and work these, and then if you have a pal with a transport skill, they will put them in the box for you. Now that the stone pit is complete, we'll see Kativa walk over and automatically start mining because Kativa has mining as a skill. I absolutely love this because it takes away a lot of the grindiness of the game. Speaking of taking away grindiness, automating your base makes things so much easier. We want to make sure that all of our critters are fed, and we can do that mostly with the berry plantation. So we're going to assign Gumos to work here, and he has the planting skill here. So once we assign, you can see he's going to start planting there. So normally you could sit there and hold your button and wait for it to happen, but it takes a while. And then secondarily, we're going to come behind and assign Pengulet so he can water once the planting is done. After that, the berries will go through a grow cycle, and then ideally you have a pal with farming who would come and harvest. In addition to helping around the base, your pals are really good at helping in combat. You press E to deploy whichever one you have in the center. You use 1 and 3 to toggle between your 5 that you have, and they will just automatically attack. Now, one of the tips I'll put in conjunction with this is be careful if you're trying to catch a pal and you're trying to get them low on health, because a lot of times your pal will just straight up murder the pal that you're trying to capture before you can actually hit it with a sphere. The other thing to mention is that if your pal gets incapacitated while you're out and about, there's no easy way to get him back. He's going to have to go back into the pal box for 10 minutes before he's resuscitated. So if you find him really low, you can just switch to one of your others or recall him. One of the last tech tree items to unlock your base to level 7 is going to be the Crusher. This is going to give you alternative ways of getting certain resources. So you can take stone and convert it to palladium fragments here at a rate of 5:1, or you can make 2 fiber from 1 wood. One thing that took me a little bit getting used to is that you can climb everything. So you just run into a wall and start pushing into it, and you're going to keep going and going and going until you run out of stamina. If there's no ledge below you, you will fall all the way down to the ground and will have to wait until that bar goes all the way back up to the top. And then you can start over again. Before we move on to the next tip, one last experiment. I was curious to see what fall damage was, so we'll just jump off the ledge here. So that's a pretty decent height, and we take 47 points of damage. Not bad. Next, we'll talk about the ranch. This is one of the really easy ways to get resources early game. Depending upon the types of pals that you have assigned to your base, you can get pal balls, you can get wool, you can get gold coins. You can get all kinds of stuff from this. Also put a box next to it so it's easy for pals to drop stuff off. As you grow more powerful and play the game more, you'll start to explore at night and you will realize it reveals a ton of stuff. If you sit here and look, you can see all the little Lillimonk effigies that glow in the night sky like stars. Additionally, you'll see new nighttime pals that glow in the dark. So my last bit of advice here is to get out there, be bold, have some fun, make some horrible mistakes. Get stepped on by a pal, laugh, and do it all over again. Hey folks, it's Echo here. I am brand new to Palworld, but absolutely loving it. I typically do 7 Days to Die content, but I'm working to branch out and try some new games, so I hope you have enjoyed this. I've got a lot more Palworld content I want to get out there, so stay tuned for that. As always, a huge thanks to all my Patreon supporters and Twitch subscribers over here. I will see y'all folks on the next one. Cheers.